Which one?
Here in Villa Park, flag football.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what, the offer, I like it.
Okay.
Well, Don's fine with that.
Yeah.
The weather was good.
All right, we'll get going. 9 o'clock. We have Trustee Alfano, Trustee Cordova, and myself here today. A couple things from last month. What do you got here? I know that it was brought up about the weeds at the old Teifu restaurant. It looks like that was taken care of. The gas station on North Avenue. Community Development is after the owner there to get that cleaned up. Although it's better than it was, but they're still working on that. There's a question about the grade separation study. They are in the process of writing an RFP and to hire a phase one engineer, so a report should be out on that probably in about a month or so. What else? That was all the 1330 South Villa, they're still looking at that and what's going on with that. They talked to the owner there several times. No end on that one yet. And one good thing that we finally heard from CN Rail, October 7th, they're gonna start working on the crossing at Addison by North Avenue. So I emailed our contact there because CN was talking about going on strike, and he said that should not affect it. So October 7th, they should be starting that. It'll be kind of a nightmare there because they're going to close down the whole
intersection, or just
yeah. The whole intersection, I think.
Yeah, because it's close to the.
Yeah, because I think they're going to redo the northbound too, even though they just did that because that was not done real well. So I think they're going to redo that whole intersection there.
What's the target completion date?
The 11th. It's supposed that week.
Wow.
The 7th through the 11th, they're supposed to be done.
Of October.
Yeah, October, yeah. So hopefully in about a month, that'll be going. Okay, actually, I think Larry wanted to speak, he's gotta get out of here.
802 South Villa. Just first thing real quick, the Lufkin Park is beautiful, we walked through there. The railing though that goes around that thing that jets out into the water, 2 sections are already broken. And a kid could fall right through there, I mean, it's this wide. And I'm hoping that they not only fix it, but maybe fix it so it doesn't break again.
That's by the pond, by the retention pond?
Yeah, it's
Starting with a walkout
the
here.
walkout.
Yeah, the
thing.
pier-
Yeah,
okay.
walkout sections were already broke off, so it's a little dangerous. Maybe they fix. I know they were there again yesterday. What I'm really here for is, after 4 years, I finally got a letter Saturday that the village is going to work on my sidewalk. There's a guy by the name of Jack in Public Works. I have called 3 times, and every time he's going to call me back for 2 things. We measured, it's just over 200 square feet. The village is billing me for 374 square feet. The other thing is, we want to make sure they don't replace the sidewalk without raising it. That's the whole point, because it's a big ice gatherer. So I would really like, that's why I came here today, maybe we could put some pressure on this guy. When I talked to Mandy, and Mandy told me, I hate to put her on the spot, but Jack is very bad about returning calls. So she, I guess I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. I don't know what, but I'm getting involved in it anyway. Since it involves my property, I'd really like a call back from this guy so we can discuss. Now, I understand because they measured yesterday again, so maybe I called about this. Maybe they measured again, I don't know. But I need to talk to this guy, make sure they're raising my sidewalk, not just replacing it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Is it sunk because it's all kind of?
No, it didn't sink at all.
Oh, it's just
When the
low.
village did Villa and Madison, 15 years ago, it's like the year I moved in. And then when they did Madison, they raised my driveway, they raised the village. So I'm in the middle. And it's good sidewalk, there's very few cracks in it. But it's so dangerous, I've fallen, many people, we have a busy corner, a lot of people walk. People fall like crazy in that ice. So that's the point, to make it less dangerous.
Mhm.
So we really didn't do anything. I mean, I could fighting paying my costs. I already paid for the thing, even though they charged me too much. We could probably fight that because it wasn't our fault. But that's the deal.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, thanks.
guys.
He'll return your email if you send it, but it'll
Sure.
take a while.
What'd you say, Chrissy?
I sent him an email, it took him
Hey,
3 times. He didn't-
got 2 things today. I guess Monday you guys are having a public meeting about the sidewalk rejuvenation plan.
Mhm.
And what is it, 5:30? Something like that, 5:45? And they're gonna be laying out bids not bid, but getting the grant money to approve it. So I pulled up this, map that was attached to the agenda for the meeting on Sunday. On Monday evening, for the regular board meeting. And again, I can't even count the number of times I've brought this up. Elm Street has no sidewalks.
Right.
There's a curve in the road. It's poorly lit at night. There's handicapped people living there, okay, on that street that are confined to wheelchairs. It was left out of the 2018 Bike and Pedestrian Master Plan where they incorporated sidewalk gaps, where they identified sidewalk gaps into the plan for future consideration, even though the future considerations were ignored when they did the Villa Avenue project, Maple Avenue improvement project, and now they're coming back 2 years later and now want to put sidewalks in again when they could have done it 2 years ago when the contractors were out there. You know, it gets a little frustrating when you keep saying, this needs attention, and now you've got another program where you have a street that was not even, I brought it up and I said, this was left out of the master plan. Let's add it into the master plan so at least it's gonna be identified. Nothing. It's not even identified in the map that's attached to the agenda as a street. They just show the road. They don't even have it identified with a name. Elm Street, between Euclid and Villa. It's in my area. I know people live on that street. And how many times do you need to hear me complain about this before somebody says, hey, maybe we ought to look into this? Especially when we're budgeting for improvements, when it's been identified. It gets a little frustrating, and I'm sorry if the frustration comes up, but the other reason I'm here today is about this school shooting 2 days ago, okay? I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I am a gun holder, licensed, okay? So I know what position I'm taking here. I believe in the Second Amendment. I've had conversations with Chief Rivas on this. I am so tired of watching our children and our police officers being put at risk by people who want to pray to the altar of the Second Amendment. Unfortunately, it's in the hands of the courts who taking unreasonable positions from what I'm saying. I would like the village to consider putting out proclamations, since you guys do proclamations all the time, that you want to protect our children, and that's the priority. Children in schools, and not only that, but unfettered access to guns has put some 14-year-old now at risk. Now his life is over. And the fact is that I talked to our police chief. I'm concerned Chicago has off-duty police officers just coming home from work who are being attacked, and the people they're facing have these switches on the guns and extended clip, and they're facing 50 bullets before they even get a chance to pull their guns out of the holsters. So we cannot keep sacrificing our police officers when they're trying to make a traffic stop and do their lawful duty, when our kids are just trying to go to school safe. So I would like the village to prioritize this. So this is not up for discussion, just a matter of consideration, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Yeah, Joe, Cheryl's just saying that Elm Street is gonna be on Monday's agenda as new business.
Discussion.
As a discussion.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, what's next?
Okay. My name is Mike Sacamino. I live on 38 Euclid, right by where the new rec center is being built. I actually just wanted to ask, I listen to a lot of YouTube videos for all of the meetings and stuff. I find it very informative. I enjoy listening to them, watching them, catching up on like the Parks and Rec ones and all the forestry ones. I contacted the forestry division about the Adopt a Tree program, and I look forward to being a part of that. But what I did notice is that, like, if you go on like Google Maps and you can look at, the street I lived on or the street that other people lived on, mine in particular, 10 trees were there 2012. 8, 12 are missing. The street's blessed with my son.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to participating in the Adopt a Tree program. He was very open, like, I think he said we plant 60 trees annually in the village, and we tear out more than we plant
Yep.
due to dead damage. Is there anything similar to like the sidewalk program or the big program that gives the village more visibility into how we're gonna like maybe combat that or try and attack something like that? I just couldn't find anything that covered that, other than, of course, we wanna plant as much as we can. I believe
Yeah.
that, so that's not,
Yeah, a lot of it obviously comes down to money.
sure.
It's a good program, it costs you $250 and
No,
you
yeah,
know, you
we're
get, yeah.
gonna do it in the spring or in the fall next year. We're just
Yeah,
gonna have to get ready.
the fall, they usually do it in the spring and the fall, they didn't do it in the spring this year because of
Okay.
the cicadas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to get more money for that, you know,
Okay.
let's just try to budget it. I know they think they have looked at grants for that kind of stuff, I don't know, there's not that many out there, I don't think.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we'll definitely mention that,
I mean, you can
about-
just
yeah,
tell
a lot of
trees
people-
are
a couple
old,
people on the
Trees
board.
are 100 years old eventually, and
Yeah,
start to die
right.
out, so I don't know
Yeah.
if there's like a master plan to sort of like start to combat that,
Yeah.
those things are obviously gonna happen, but.
yeah, right.
So one of the things that I've been curious about has been a catalog of trees, right? Like we know that we plant 60, but say 100 come down every year.
Right.
I don't know if there's a mechanism in place that has a catalog of the trees on the streets. I'm sure there is.
Mhm.
That was definitely something I was talking about just this week with a neighbor of mine, because they have a huge, beautiful tree. It is rotten on the inside.
Right.
Like you like on a heavy rain, there's like this little hole in the bottom. And I'm like, why don't you get that removed? He's like, I love it, and I'm just gonna let it basically die. I'm like, all right. I'm like, it's dangerous, but like,
Yeah.
it's in his backyard. And then it kind of made me think about cataloging. You know how like parks sometimes have like this little tree tag on it, and it's like that tree's catalog, how old it is, estimate what kind of tree it is. I don't know if we had that mechanism here in Village Park yet, but definitely something like I want to figure out so that we know that we're cutting down about 100 trees a year. How the last 5 years, how many did we cut down? The last 10 years, how many will we need to plant before we're kind of at a big loss? So.
No, I agree, I just, I think everything the village does is great, like I said, I moved in 2022, it's been, the changes that I've seen even just since I moved in, it's been super awesome to see, so I'm very excited about that, that was just one of the things
Yeah.
that I noticed that our street is.
Yeah.
And the people that lived there before me were like, yeah, we moved in, we loved the canopy
Oh,
on
yeah,
the street,
right.
and it was so great,
Yeah.
and now where's all the trees? And
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So,
Okay.
Don't plant acorns.
oh,
I think something that staff might want to look at, I know the Fund Commission for a few years had done the oldest trees, and that might be something that if they're looking to catalog,
Yeah.
they might want to utilize, because they do have some data, not a lot of data,
Yeah.
but people did kind of.
and it helps with the variety too, instead of like,
Yeah.
oh, we have
Correct.
10,000 maples and 1 elm or
Yeah,
something,
right.
it's like, oh, great.
And they
And
do,
Bill
they do
knows
give,
that.
they give you a choice of like 5 different trees.
Is it, okay, so I
Yeah.
asked them to, I asked if there was an actual list, I know on the Adopt a Tree program, it's like, we got trees for sun and shade, and
Yeah.
what do you need? I'm like, that's great, but can
Yeah.
I pick out of the 5 or something? But,
Yeah, you can, there's a list of 5, I think
Okay.
5 or 6 trees, and then you can, you
pick.
choose which one.
Sweet,
Yeah.
I was just looking at that too. Al.
Mike, leave your name on the plaque.
there you go.
There you go.
Have you seen numbers on how many trees they've taken down? I don't know how many have been taken down versus how many get planted annually for the last 5 to 10 years. Are
There
more
was-
coming down than going up?
Yeah, we can get those numbers.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, even on like Monterey, which is right by my house, they had to take down probably 50 trees when they replaced the street because they had to redo, or they did the separation.
Yeah.
And some of the trees that they had to take down were 100-year-old beautiful trees that have been there forever and ever. But now they have like little guys, so it should they'll fill out.
Yeah. Yeah, we can find that out.
I got 2 things.
Yes, sir.
I see on your agenda, you have a issue on your 148 Ellsworth property, vacant property.
Mhm.
Where's that at? Is that by the Strats there or something?
No, that's by the train station.
Oh, okay.
You know where the retention area is there?
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of the lots, we own, like you got the retention area and then there's a lot. The next lot north of that we own. This is the lot in between. And it's just a vacant lot and we're gonna purchase that and then that will give us 2 more lots to expand that retention.
Oh, okay, for a time.
Yeah, correct.
I would say you don't need more parking spaces.
No, yeah.
There's plenty.
But it's like, it's the one in between, you know, I don't know when we bought the one there, but, so this'll, obviously, nothing we can do right now, but if we get that one, then we can expand it. And that'll help that area there for stormwater.
And my second thing is, this apartment complex on Villa Avenue that had some discussion,
Mhm.
What's it called, the Union, I
Yep.
believe it is. Is there gonna be any opportunity to have a little more citizen, intake and question and answer time? Besides at the village board meeting where you were limited to 3 minutes and then get
Mhm.
out, you know? So I was just wondering if there was gonna be anything like that,
I don't think we're planning anything like that, but,
so.
you know,
Well, then-
'cause it's a
then
private,
people should come here.
yeah,
But unfortunately, there's
Yeah.
a lot of empty seats up there,
yeah.
you know, thanks you for coming today.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
The
it's
kids,
usually
yeah.
just, there you go,
Yeah.
there's two of you. So,
Yeah.
That's why they call
this
this.
fine
The board.
I mean, so is it possible for us to open up another?
usually.
You know, it's a private development, so, you know, it's something like
Now,
that
that's on
on
Villa,
Villa,
this side of North Avenue.
St. Charles.
It's on
So
Villa.
so it's adjacent to the asphalt plant,
No,
No, this is south of St. Charles.
south of James.
Where AK Mulch used to be.
Oh, by the
Yeah.
material?
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So my question is, I watched the last board meeting when you actually talked about it. And there were some concerns by some of the board members about the village's contribution with the TIF money. You know, I look at that project as far as the village, it's a future project for the village. It's a big project, it'll be generating tons of tax dollars when it's finally finished. And that'll go into a TIF fund for about 20 years, 25 years. I believe.
It's a 23 year, but they're a couple
And
years in.
after that, the money will come, all the tax money will come to the village. It's, you know, I sort of equate that with the village, the same way we probably all have the retirement fund. And we've contributed in for years. And then, you know, hopefully, if you live long enough, even your social security, which you've been putting in, you'll be, after you retire, you'll be start drawing off of that, and hopefully you'll get more money back than what you originally put in. The same way, we all probably have our own individual retirement plan, which will build over the years and the amounts will go up. But for the village, they don't have anything like that, but this project is sort of like that. It'll be a project that'll go up, generate, I don't know how many thousands of dollars, millions of dollars into taxes, that after those bonds are finally paid off, the village will get that money. It's sort of like a long-range revenue source for the village. So, you know, I get a little concerned when people say, well, wait a minute, they wanted us to guarantee $13 million, I think it was. But we're really not.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's an investment that we're making for the long-range future, for when we're all gone and not here anymore, for our next generation. So, you
Yeah.
know, I think that you gotta keep that in mind when you're having that discussion. So, and there'll be opportunities to, maybe if it's, the bonds are paid off sooner, you know, you can dissolve the TIF. So,
Yeah.
is there gonna be a TIF board meetings? There has to be a TIF board meeting where the taxing bodies get together and talk about if they're gonna okay that or not. So,
Well, the bond doesn't have to be approved by the TIF members, it's just the village.
okay,
But I know the manager has been talking to District 88 and District 45 about how we structure the payments to the schools. Because it's based on, you know, if you get so many extra kids, you move in 200 families, and if like 20 send new kids to school, we have to pay out of the TIF for that. But it's, you know, it's like the Ovaltine, there's very few kids that are living there that go to the Villa Park schools. So I know that we've been talking to them about kind of renegotiating part of
well,
that.
one of the things I noticed listening to the developer at the meeting was that all the closing, all the documents are all gonna be done at the same time.
Yeah,
Which is, you know, because the village is not gonna be selling any bonds
right.
before the project is actually a go.
Correct.
And I think that was part of the concern that some of the board members had too. We'll be hanging out there.
Right.
And then the project goes south, like the one up by the railroad station.
Right.
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But if you're all around the table on the same day, the same time, you sign all the paperwork, you're
Yeah.
pretty well guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I just hope that all the board members will recognize that this is really an investment for the future of the town.
Yeah.
You figure
Yeah, and
that 80, how many $1 million project was that?
So 83 million.
Yeah,
or
83,
something like
86,
that.
something like that.
You just think about what today's tax revenue
Yeah.
would be generated, not just in bonds, but also for the businesses along there.
Correct, yeah, you've got another 200, 300 people,
Mhm.
you know.
And it
that are
either
gonna-
probably the business improvement would go all the way to St. Charles Road,
Mhm,
possibly.
correct,
Because you're
yeah.
gonna have a whole lot more people
Yeah.
looking to spend money.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the interesting things from that meeting, and I feel like it was kind of just mentioned and moved along, and a little bit of the, I don't want to say pushback, but a lot of the questions are like, are these people committed? You know, who are they, whatever, and I feel like the Ecoterra was kind of left a sour taste in people's mouth, right? These folks actually have just purchased the management rights for Ovaltine, so, you know, that was like just a really quick mention where the woman was up there and she was talking about, you know, we do this and all these things, and they had a big list, and I'm like, hey, they're committed, like they are in for Villa Park, so.
They run the
you know,
property across the
they-
street. They definitely want to have a
They
good
wanna
property on
have
the
this,
side.
Yeah, right.
yeah, they wanna have both, so, I met with them a couple times, and, when I came on, the project was still kind of getting worked through, and I met with them downstairs and had 100 questions, and they're great, so, it's gonna be really nice, that whole area is gonna be beautiful, and, you know, once that rec center's done, then it's gonna be settled. The only thing is gonna be, we're settling in the rec center, and then directly across the street, we're gonna have some construction, you know, but that's the growing pains of what we're trying to do.
Well, one of the board members was concerned about losing the parking that we have in that AK Mulch property. Well,
It's
that,
up, yeah, we've got 90 something back, yeah.
yeah, 90,
100 back.
96,
Yeah.
96, yeah.
96.
Do I hear 102?
Right.
102.
94 now.
So,
96 covered parking.
Yeah.
Which they will maintain,
Right.
not the village.
Correct.
You know, it would just transform that whole area over.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And the other thing is too, okay, if you're against it, that property has contamination on it.
That's it.
They're gonna
We
clean
know
it up, yeah.
We don't know exactly how much it would cost, but someday, somebody is gonna have to clean that up.
Yeah.
And this outfit's gonna come and clean that up.
Yeah.
There are no cleanup costs. There are no cleanup costs. You know this, and I know this is zero cleanup costs. The state has already said that they're going to sign off on the material that's out there, so that's not an issue.
I don't know. what
I don't
you're
think so. I don't think,
This-
I understand cleanup cost, but I don't know what you're referring to.
The fact is that they've already, the phase one on that property, when it was
Right.
sold before there, the standards that they've got for the contamination out there has been well defined and was at that time brought to the state. In fact, we probably dig that up for about 8 years ago. It's below the cleanup objective. There's no cost involved, zero.
there'll be some limited costs, but you know,
Let's be-
people talk, one of the reasons why they're not putting underground parking is because that would have been exorbitant to clean it, to do that. So they're going slab on grade, you know, I think they added a story to the building. It was
I
supposed to
think
be.
I thought they're having it reevaluated.
No, oh, they did, but it was in the millions of dollars, because all of that soil's gotta go off as contaminated. So it was cost prohibitive to do that. So they went up one story and then.
Is Dave's gonna pay for some of that? They say they just don't have to do it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they can leave a lot of it in the ground.
Okay.
But then, you know, if they run in any tanks while they're, developing the property, you know, obviously the tanks have to come out.
Well, it's kind of good that the board also set it up at the closing, so everybody
Yeah.
will be there, so we don't run into the same thing. we
No,
had
I agree.
on the north.
And like Oregon said, this company's a lot more, they're a lot more well-financed
Definitely.
than
Okay.
Ecoterra was, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, so. Anyone else?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, 'cause I wanna
Alright.
follow up on what you said
Thanks.
last time.
All right, thanks. So, real quick, earlier when I referenced the 2018 Bike and Pedestrian Master Plan, through whatever reason, that's no longer accessible through the village's website. When you bring it up in the search engine, it actually shows the flyer from 2017 that they're gonna conduct a survey on the master plan, but somehow it's not easily accessible. I went through the first 9 pages and it's not in there. That it should be able to come right up, especially when you put it in the search feature. So
Okay.
if it's been removed, I'd like it added back in because I have a physical copy. But when I reference it and other people want to have an understanding of what was actually expensed by the village back in 2018 when Active Transit did it, it's not easily attainable. So I'd like to make sure that's added back in.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, well,
When you guys, you're obviously taking notes of all of these meetings here. Do you have audio, video recording of these?
Audio.
Saturday?
Audio.
You just have taken notes?
Yeah.
Do you give those to all the trustees then?
yes,
Yes?
yes.
They all do get it? And when do they get it? I mean, like within a couple of weeks or so?
Yeah, usually Cheryl she'll do the minutes and then she sends them to me. I take a look at it, a quick read, and then she'll send it to the
They
board.
get attached to the agendas.
Yeah.
After I've read them.
Yeah, because when we approve the minutes from like the previous meeting, whenever that's on there, that's usually, as soon as it's sent out for approval.
Because I was just bringing back the lady about the garage. You know, she was I was talking to one of the other trustees about it. And says, I don't have any information about that. And I was like, no.
It's in it. The minutes are in, and it may not be like today's minutes probably won't be on Mondays. So obviously, they're not on Monday's agenda, but they'll probably be on.
Eventually, so therefore.
They'll be on
somebody
the
should have been aware of
23rd.
situation. Okay. Because as I said, I talked to one of the trustees about it, and I just said, hey, it's sort of a serious issue here. You don't have a village employee telling somebody to go get a loan to go build a garage. I said, that's sort of beyond the level of what we would consider.
Yeah.
I said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, they gotta read the minutes.
They gotta read the packets.
I mean, the packet they give us is a couple hundred pages sometimes.
Yeah.
So I sit there on a Sunday evening the night before and just start pounding through all those papers, so.
Okay, so that was in the packet. I mean, I apologize, I'm not gonna go over.
Yeah, it would have been,
That was
yeah.
in the package.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also why we asked to get the packet a little bit earlier, so we're not all sitting there on a Sunday night.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm always impressed. It used to be when the old trustees used to be here, there were a lot of people that were like breaking open the packet when they walked in the door,
Yeah.
You and I, we never even opened the packet.
Not me, Ralph.
You know what? I'm not making any accusations other than.
Yeah, and just open them in your car. At least don't open them up here.
Exactly. It's like, don't sit there and drop the packet down there and you look at it.
No, with many of us
Gee.
having families, it's hard, you have to juggle and
Of
just
course it is.
block out that
Yeah.
time, so.
Well, because you guys all make the big bucks, so you got
Yeah,
lots
oh,
of time to do that.
Absolutely.
Especially when you get it Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I mean, listen, don't forget, there was a time that, you guys got the packages, whatever it was, 3:30 or 4 o'clock on Monday
Friday.
afternoon,
Oh yeah, well usually I think it was always on Friday. We for sure got them on Friday.
Well, that's
How would
it.
you do
This
that? How do you do that?
is
Yeah.
a need-to-know basis, if
We
you
used
don't
to-
need to know.
Yeah, because we used to have to go to the police station to pick them up,
Really?
and then they got to the point where an officer would drop them off. So.
Well, Al, you had it good, you had Richard Keener read it to you.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah,
In 3 languages.
Al was special. Al was special. He was-
I was gonna say, it was on, it was on Keener's blog.
yeah, there you go.
Well, you could watch TV,
Keener
have
had
a
a
beer, and know what's
blog.
gonna go on the next
You
year.
had a blog?
I read it
What
on
we
the
got?
village
Move on.
website.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else?
I have two
Sure.
issues.
You know what
Both
I'm
of them
talking
have
about.
to do with Monday's meeting. The first is the public hearing that you're putting through. A lot of residents are concerned that it has to do with taxes going up. And you're throwing a public hearing, before the board meeting when they're busy. At 5:45 isn't really a convenient time for people. So the public hearing, they're a little confused that this has nothing to do with raising taxes, that you're approving like a referendum would be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you might want to make that clear. in that public hearing.
Yeah, and that was kind of brought
It has nothing to do
up,
with their tax dollar.
that was brought up at the last meeting when we were discussing the bond, that it's not tax money, it's TIF money, which is tax money, but it's not like raising your taxes. It's the
Right,
money that's
right.
there anyway. Your taxes are gonna stay the same, but yeah, we'll make sure that,
Make sure
that's
you
brought
bring it
up, yeah.
because a lot of people are a little
Yeah.
confused because you threw the TIF in, I think, and then they're thinking, okay, now you're spending our tax money.
Yeah.
You're voting on something to spend something in
Yeah.
the meetings.
And we've tried to explain many times up here exactly how TIFs work.
Oh my God, you'll never get that right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been explaining that for 16 years, and
Yeah.
it's still the same old question.
It took me, it took me a couple
Don't
years.
understand it, and
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
much,
I mean,
Yeah.
I need the picture.
they're written, the
Yeah.
laws-
Pictures don't do any
the
good.
laws-
Yeah.
laws
Yeah,
are-
I know,
The
yeah.
infographic, it's all, I mean, when I was on Parks and Rec for years, I ended up coming in my second year and just like, I need somebody to sit down and talk to me about how this works, you know?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay. And they explained it, and I was like, all right, great, and I walked out, I was like, what? More questions than
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was funny.
Just trust me, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
And
They're the trustees, what else we should do?
That's right, yeah.
Trust them.
the other thing is it's not the road thing on the golf course.
Mhm.
There's still questions on, does the village manager get a breakdown of those expenses that are going out from Elmhurst?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
there's still people that remember Elmhurst adding things to the golf
Mhm.
course budgets that weren't there, so
Yeah.
they got a little concern on, is he getting a breakdown of, instead of just the
Mhm.
sheet that you're showing
Yeah.
of what the costs are, is he's getting an actual breakdown of what they're spending
Yeah.
that amount on and writing a check for the
Yeah.
different stuff.
Yeah.
Is
I'd
there-
agree with
is there
Cheryl,
being-
but I won't put anything on tape.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, just
Yeah.
let me know.
No, there's been a lot of talk about that over the last few years, I mean, Al knows. But, no, it's gotten a lot tighter and we have a lot more, more information from, the board, from the Sugar Creek Board and from Elmhurstian, you know, as far as spending. So, yeah, we have a lot more control of it than we did, say, 10 years ago.
Because they had discussion on us giving up money back on that,
Yeah.
on, I don't know how, quite a few months ago.
Yeah.
on-
Yeah,
and
but they'll
people were
be-
like, no, we're not giving back our money to
Yeah.
the golf course, I mean, what it is, so.
Yeah.
And I know now they're talking about liability and you're gonna have an open meeting there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, people are concerned because you got the meeting at 6 o'clock and families have dinner and they can't make it and
That's the whole
going on?
point.
Yeah.
Let's not go in there.
Yeah, we were gonna schedule it for 2 in the afternoon, but, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
Cheryl brought up a really good issue, then, so therefore, I don't know, our previous village manager actually had a forensic accounting
Mhm.
done on them.
Yeah.
It must be 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Have we followed up with that? I mean, again, the point is, I mean, when I read that thing there, it was, there's no certification, you know, on it, well, you know, standard accounting practices or anything like that.
Mhm.
Do we have any kind of, you know, oversight on that? Do you have?
Oh, yeah, well, that's what the board, the Sugar Creek Board is for, is to look at, which, you know, we've got 3 members, they've got 4, and then the next year they got 3 and we got 4. So it's looked at.
Can we clarify
yeah,
what
being
reason?
part of that board, you don't see a whole lot. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I think now
You
you,
do
Sorry.
not get the information you should on a written thing
Yeah.
to be able to follow through.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. is
That's
that
the whole
It's hard to
point.
make a
They
decision
hand you
on
the
something
same
when there's
sheet.
nothing there, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
They hand you the
No.
same blank sheet that you're seeing that on the board, and this is the amount. No breakdowns, no nothing.
Yeah.
So when we're, you know, being part of that golf course thing, it's not broken down real well.
okay,
You can ask questions, but you get, well, I'll get back to you the next thing,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, so.
So no
Yeah,
bill
yeah.
listings or anything like that?
Yeah, can we
No.
clarify what we're talking about? Is this the Sugar Creek says these are a list of expenses and Elmhurst is the one pushing a bill and then we're just supposed, and then our contribution is like, we don't ask
Well,
questions?
yeah,
Is
'cause
that-
it's-
Is that what I'm understanding?
We're.
Very well said.
Yeah, for a long time, Sugar Creek was run more by the Elmer's Park District than by us.
Okay.
You know, it's supposed to be a joint thing,
Right.
and then, Al, like, you know, Al was on here long before, not long, but before me, and so he had, at that point, it was, don't worry about it. And then there was some question about,
Take care of it, sort of a
yeah, Elmhurst said, well, we put in $1 million, you know, 10 years ago, and we want to get paid back, and it was like, well, where? So I think that's when they did the forensic accounting
Got it.
10 years ago, and,
My lip is starting to bleed from biting my head.
Oh, please say so, come on, say it. It was like,
Not with the
Yeah.
oh, say it, come
Yeah.
on.
We'll wait till it adjourns,
Elmhurst
yeah.
is the administrative part of,
Right, they manage it all.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
they
staff
manage
there,
it, they.
But the problem was they were mixing, when Elmhurst had their park district had some financial issues were going on there, and so there was a lot of mixing of the money. And it was like when Villa Park asked some questions, it was like, yeah, you don't need to know that.
There was no mixing.
Well, you know,
Okay.
They were keeping it.
they gave us, Elmer's the one who gave us that bridge over there on St. Charles Road.
What was that?
Elmer's gave us that.
The bridge.
Remember the bridge right
Oh,
on?
I remember the bridge very well.
yeah.
They gave us that. Isn't that worth something else?
Al had hair when we started the discussions about the
Yeah.
bridge.
Don't get me started on that St. Charles Road Bridge.
Yeah.
In Elmhurst.
There you go. So Villa Park gives contracts out to its village manager, and does the police chief get a contract?
For
Who gets
employment.
Yeah,
who gets
for
a
employment, yeah.
contract from the village?
You talk about employment?
Yeah, the manager gets a
No,
contract.
she doesn't get it. No, she doesn't have a,
Chief doesn't have it.
no.
Chief doesn't have a contract, there's
No,
no other
no.
people that have a
Police
contract?
commission gives
No.
that out.
Yeah, just the manager.
Okay, what percentage of, cities actually give, and again, I'm just bringing this up because that was an issue a couple of years ago. What percentage of cities actually give out a contract to a village manager?
I think most of them.
They all do. You go on the website, any village around here, you can pull
Yeah.
their manager
Okay,
contract.
I contacted,
Because I have done that in the
okay,
past.
I'm asking this to bring this
Yeah.
up because the Illinois Municipal League, I asked them, and they said only about 50% of the cities that are involved with the Illinois Municipal League
Mhm.
will actually give a contract out. Now, that
Yeah,
may be higher in DuPage County versus
Yeah,
Manuka or whatever it is.
you're right,
But it's
right.
only 50%. And
I think most
as
of the-
contracts gonna be coming up, we really need to ask the question is why?
My what?
Why do we need to give a contract?
As
Well,
opposed to
but-
having them as just a salaried employee?
Yes,
Well, because I don't think a manager would take the job without a contract. Because it protects the manager and it protects the village.
didn't protect the village too well a couple of years ago.
Right. You know,
I'll be
6
blunt
months
about that one,
severance
it didn't
pay.
protect the village.
Well, had they lived up to their end of the agreement and just allowed them to not renew it a couple of months, just wait a couple of months and just not renew the
Mhm.
contract, that would have been a better resolution.
Right.
I'm not gonna-
In
I'm
hindsight.
not gonna
That
go
was
there.
not-
That-
Yeah,
that should've
that
happened
was-
10 years ago.
Yeah, that was,
Not
That was not a good sign, but again,
No.
I'm just bringing it up because I actually contacted the Illinois Municipal League, and it's like less than 50%.
like you said, it may be, you know, southern towns, but around here, I know Elmhurst has one, Lombard has one, Oak
Just
Terrace
because
has
other people
one.
do stuff doesn't mean we have to do it.
No, no, I think we need it. I don't think we would get a manager in here without a contract.
Yeah, and it's easier to term a contract than to term a full-time employee, right? Like if, let's say, 10 years ago, the village manager, for whatever reason, wasn't doing their job, it gives us the opportunity to say, let's term this contract and have, in the contract, it has termination clauses. To term a village employee is a lot harder to do, right? So just, I think that in general is probably the mechanism that's in place for the reason why. I know these village managers jump around a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, I looked up ours, and he came from Maine. Is that what I saw?
He was in Missouri for a while,
Delaware.
Delaware, they travel.
Delaware was it,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool, it's pretty cool how it's like a little.
He actually went over that river with
Don't-
Washington.
told you.
Yeah, so there's I don't know, but yeah, that's a great question, because I don't know.
Yeah,
Listen, Kenny, I really do. You haven't been around for so long.
Did you see me on the other side of that coin?
I think well-written contracts do exactly what some other people have.
I'm sorry, what was that
I
again?
think that well-written contracts do exactly what some people have already addressed. It protects both sides, and it is very clear what the expectations are. So,
Oh, it
well-written
agree immensely.
contract
And again,
absolutely
having
says,
worked on
here are
many
the
contracts,
expectations.
I've seen, and again, we had this issue where we, especially when we had the thing there for the Parks Board, where the architect said, well, it's a standard contract. It was not a standard contract. It was anything but a standard contract. And that, when that happened, that was like, we're sitting there like, I'm reading this contract, I'm going, Jesus Christ. How many times do you want to write in there, if you do something, you're gonna have to bend over and cough village,
Yeah.
So, just my question is like,
Yeah.
if you want to have a contract, that's great. Maybe we should probably have a better written contract, or at least a different contract, or.
I think this contract, I think is written better than the one that we had for Manager Keener.
That's a lot, huh?
Yeah.
I just think the review and renewal should be done in a timely manner.
Yeah.
How many times do we have to go through this where the time comes up and they're working with basically no contract, there's no reason for that.
Well, see, the contract is always there. It's, the things like his raise or, his
Why aren't we
review
doing
and all
it
that, but
in a timely manner? Why
Yeah.
does it come to the date where it should be reviewed and
Mhm.
there's
extended,
a good
and
point.
we're gone for months with nothing?
Why don't we renew it every year? And
Why
again,
don't we
instead
do
of
it
every
on
4
the
years,
bill?
like, okay, here's a contract for this,
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah, because it comes up
Not a
every,
big
it does,
surprise.
actually, that's true, it comes up every 4 years
It's every 4
because
years.
whenever the board president changes is when it gets renewed.
Well, again, like I said, tradition is not always the best thing.
Yeah.
Just because we've done it that way
No.
doesn't mean we have to do it again, but,
Yeah.
it's your call.
Sure.
Typically not the best.
Okay. All right, anyone else?
I see that you lost the fight with the cell tower by the high school,
Yes.
so.
We lost we
one of
won,
these-
we lost the fight, we won the battle. They're moving it a little farther south and they're dropping the height of the tower. So we knew we weren't gonna win that fight. But at least they're moving it back and they're dropping the size, the height of it. So
Are they still asking for the waiver then?
they won't need the waiver then,
Perfect.
because if they're dropping it below whatever the height was if they needed the waiver.
It's more than a lot of municipalities get against those kind of companies, because they're covered by the Telco Act. So us going back and getting them to move it and then to drop it down was a huge win. We were never gonna get rid of it.
I used to do environmental work for a cell phone company that no longer exists, and I'll tell you that they make that decision is, everything's got a circle and a dot.
Yes.
And if all of a sudden they have a problem with a landowner or whatever it was, that circle and that dot got moved real easy. The problem was is when they came over here and said, well, we want to have a waiver. And that was the giant question, was like, a waiver for what? It's a regulatory standard cell tower. It comes in a package. It's built like an erector set, for those that remember what an erector set is. It's relatively straightforward. The problem was when the city was sitting there, it was like, why are you asking for a waiver again?
The variance,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was pretty, that was, like I said, I know these people is like, okay, this is a standard package, here's a circle, here's a dot, or a dot and a circle, or whatever it was, and let's make sure all of the circles, intersect, so you have good cell phone coverage.
Yeah.
Again, as long as we can give them the waiver, that's all the only point.
Yeah.
You can't do anything on that.
Okay.
It was the variance, I think that was the
The
question, was the question, I don't think it was
variance,
the top.
variance.
Yeah.
That's what everybody, we have the ladies here that,
Yeah.
5G's gonna kill all of us, we're all gonna rot in the brain.
And it's all the ladies, Rob?
What's that?
It's all the ladies, did you say?
No, there was 2 ladies here that were doing their 5G thing. It was-
They were here all the
Well,
time.
I don't know.
They were here a lot, and they were like, the 5G's gonna, it's gonna rot your brain, and our children are all gonna get, prostate cancer. I'm like,
It just came out that the EPA just said it doesn't cause cancer. They did a
Yeah.
10-year study this week.
You believe that?
right.
I got it from somebody.
Hey, Al, like I said, just trust me, okay? Trust me.
It's all right. Just move in, it's okay.
Yeah.
There one by you?
Oh, for sure.
Alright, do we have anything else?
I have two more quick ones.
Sure.
One is, so they're both by the rec center. The rec center has the path and they're gonna connect the two to the new one that they just asphalted around Ovaltine.
Mhm.
Is that, the path that they did some of the concrete already, where the rec center is that where the path is gonna pick up on? Or is there another interchange where the Great Western goes left
Yeah,
down the path, the gravel? Is that supposed to pick up on that, so all that traffic is gonna be right in front of the rec center entrance? Or is that on the other side of Wildwood, where the parking lot is, or the
you
apartment
know,
might be?
I don't know,
I couldn't find it on any of the maps or any of the
Yeah.
pictures.
It's on the side of Wildwood.
Well, yeah, so it's
yeah,
on
it's following, I know it's following Wildwood, but like where it
the
crosses.
current concrete that they poured some
The
of it,
black-
is that part of the interchange, or is that just specifically for
So
the
it's
rec center?
if I think I know what you're talking about down Wildwood, they put the black top there, that comes on the north side of Ovaltine.
Yeah, and then on the
So-
other side of Villa where the rec center is, they poured a little bit of that concrete already.
So that was just because I believe it was because it was all gravel and it kind of
Yeah.
a little, and it had like a weird runoff, so it had like a rut in there.
But is that the interchange for the path? Or is that gonna be
I
on the
think-
other side?
I
Because
think
if
it
that's
is.
the
I
interchange, that's
think
all the
that-
traffic gonna be right in front of the rec center.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, cause it's still going on in the yards.
I mean, it shouldn't be the biggest
Right,
yeah.
because the entranceway to the rec center looks pretty big and.
Yeah.
And then the other question was
It's not going under the arch. The tri-thing bike path is beyond between the Union, where Union Station will be, and the rec center.
oh, so it is
That's
gonna be on
where
the
the
Union
yeah.
side of the
It's
of
gonna be on
Wildwood.
the Union side
Okay.
unless they switch it to the other side.
That's what I thought it
The
was,
Union
but then
side,
that's
on the
somewhat
north
really
side
big.
of where Union's supposed to
And
be
then-
is where the design.
And then there's the connector that's gonna go up Villa, and that's what, like in 2 years, I think.
That'd be nice, so people aren't riding their bikes on Villa anymore.
If you haven't, and I did
I
it
have,
once
yeah.
with my kids, and we were like, we're gonna go catch the greenway or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and you're sitting there on Villa, and with my kid, and I have like the bike, I'm like, yeah, no, like, so they're gonna make it a lot different, but for that, I believe that is,
That is the connector,
Yeah.
not putting the one where the Union's gonna be, there's not gonna be a different asphalt.
No,
That's
it's,
gonna connect.
it's
It is
coming,
the one that
it's
goes
coming
up there before
Wildwood.
Okay,
The tri-bike path comes up Wildwood.
yes,
Comes up that side and then connects to the Great Western.
Yep.
And then you take the connection from there, that's already there to go back.
no, I
to-
get that, but my only question was which side of Wildwood, where the rec center is currently, was that path gonna be? Is it
I
just gonna be?
believe it's on the Union side.
It's on the Union side, that's
The
cool.
south side of it, so the
Got it.
north side of the
You
Union.
take good notes for next time.
And the last question was there a study in any of the pamphlets that talked about, that's one thing that my neighbors on Euclid talk about, is the increased traffic from the rec center on that little, like, we're in that like protected district where the TIF districts were redesigned. And there's like 4 blocks between the rec center and Jewel.
Charles, Euclid.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a welcomes more people in the area, and I'm
Yeah.
not too concerned about it. But I mean, I have a 5-month-old now, and so I'm imagining that street's gonna pick up a lot of traffic, at least coming to the rec center. Those
Yeah.
that wanna leave there because you can't take a left. because there's
Right,
one
yeah.
Villa.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns when we were talking about putting the rec center there, was traffic, whether they would go west, but more than likely they're gonna go east. You know,
Right, all
'cause
the
if,
incoming traffic I could see coming
Yeah.
down my street, but no one's gonna leave, so there won't be a
Right.
lot of back and forth because everyone's gonna
Right.
wanna hit the light on Villa, or else my
Right.
street would be backed up all the way. Just
Correct.
trying to
You
get
make
out.
a left-hand turn on St. Charles, yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
correct.
them talking about that, 'cause that might be a nightmare.
Right.
Yeah. but that was one thing, cause, yeah, cause if they're gonna go west, they're gonna go to Villa,
Right,
and if they're
they're
going
gonna-
east, they're gonna go that way anyway,
Or
so.
if they try, it'll take them a week of
Yeah,
2
right.
classes of taking their kids to
Yep,
basketball. They
that
realize,
makes
like,
sense.
we're not gonna go on
Right.
Euclid and people
Yes.
can't
They
get out.
might naturally come south off of St. Charles, east on Wildwood,
Right.
and
Right.
then continue east out to Villa, or to Villa, and either
Yeah.
you make that left to go to the light, or you make a right to go wherever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true, okay.
Was that discussed anywhere though? Do we know?
I don't know if they did I don't think they did a traffic study for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it was discussed, I remember, I think
We
up
did back
here,
on
we
Parks
had,
and
a
Rec when I
couple
was
years
out
ago,
there.
we had, discussion about
Yeah.
that, but, yeah, I don't think an actual traffic study was done.
That might be a good one for,
Yeah.
traffic yet.
So,
When
okay.
meeting comes up there, you're gonna have.
So I have power lines.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Anything else you'd like to bring up?
Rough's gone, nobody's stirring pot.
Yeah, really? Okay. All right, we will close then.
I could bring some up.
Oh, that is, yeah, just-
That's it, we
10:49.
adjourn.
Yes.
Turn
What's-
the tape off.
Al's been waiting for it.
Okay. Yeah, look at his lip. Look at his lip.
Now,
I'm gonna put the August minutes on the